Hey everybody, it's your favorite Basterd, and today we are doing fried rice. As you can see, we already have some rice, and this was cooked yesterday. In fact, this is leftover white rice from a previous meal, and that's kind of my recommendation for this. So you don't need to make a new or fresh batch of white rice when you do fried rice. Old rice, leftover rice, absolutely fine. So, as you can see, we already have it in a plastic microwave safe container. Actually going to add a little bit of water to this, just a little bit. So I want to say I added about a shot glass worth of water to this guy. Now, what that does is when we microwave this, that water is going to become steam. It's going to steam the rice. And that's an easy way to warm it back up without drying it out in the microwave. Okay, so now for the meat that we're going to be putting in our fried rice, and of course if you want to go vegetarian you can skip this step, we got some shrimp. This is regular old shrimp from the grocery store. It still has the tail attached, so I just wanted to demonstrate how we're going to get that tail off, because it's not as tasty. So grip it firmly, but not so firmly that you're going to squish it to death. This end, and then just pinch and pull. So you are pinching the tail, kind of to crush it, and just pulling off. I'll demonstrate again. So just grip kind of firmly, not too firmly. Pinch and pull. Okay, we got a pan. We got some hot oil in there. We're going to go ahead and drop the shrimp in. So they are shrimp. They're going to cook rather quickly. We don't want them to cook 100%. We want to get them to like the 80-90% mark, because we're going to cook them a second time after we add some seasoning and sauce to them. Alright, so when you see this really vibrant orange color on your shrimp, typically indicates they're done or close to done. Personally, I go until they're a little crispy on the outside, but again, we're going to pull these guys, we're going to add some sauce and seasoning, and then fry them again. Alright, so we got our shrimp, and we have it in a steel mixing bowl. We're going to be adding the seasoning to this now. So you can see I got some yellow mustard, honey, and some chili garlic oil. I also have this rather unique spice mix. I understand you're not going to have this at home, but I really wanted to use this on the shrimp today. Alright, so we're going to leave the shrimp just to sort of marinate in that sauce mixture we made. The rice, we've warmed it up. We are leaving it in the container for now. We're going to focus on our vegetables. So I got a slightly unconventional vegetable medley in front of us. We got carrot, onion, celery. I did that on purpose. So this is a staple of French cuisine. It's called a mirepoix. But we're going to be using it in fried rice today, so leave hate mail in the comments. Alright, so with carrots, some people are all about getting this skin off. I really don't care. If you have the means to easily peel these carrots, go for it. Frankly, I don't mind. All I do, take off the not so pretty gnarly end, then the tip, chuck those. And then to get these into more manageable pieces, cut it in half. And then cut this guy right down the center. Same for the big piece. And you're going to repeat this. Just cutting these logs, so to speak, down the center, until you end up with something kind of like this. Sort of thin strip. We're going to cut this guy one more time. So when you have these thin strips, you're just gonna cut them into little pieces. So that's what's gonna go into your rice. So just repeat the process, splitting these in half. When you got about the thickness you want, start chopping. Okay, I want to say we used about half to 2/3 of that carrot. Don't worry, the rest of it went into my stomach. Let's go ahead and get started with the celery. This stuff is pretty darn easy to work with. Kind of like what you did with the carrot. Get the ugly ends off. And we're just going to split it right down the middle. And we're going to do it one more time. Yeah, good enough. That wasn't the straightest cut, but you know, it'll work. We do not expect perfection on this channel. So, kind of like what you did earlier with the carrot, once you got strips of the desired thickness, just start chopping with your knife. And as it's celery, should be breaking up pretty easy. So that looked a little awkward because I was trying to look where I was cutting with the camera in my face. No Johns. So if you see a piece that looks just a little too big, just take your knife and chop them up. So I'd say we got about half a cup of material there. Drop it in the bowl with the carrot. Okay, so went ahead and cut our onion directly in half so we preserve some of the root at the top and some whatever you'd call this guy here. So you always want to leave the root for last because that's holding in all your moisture. And we're going to cut these fairly thick, and I'm noticing the skin on the outside is a little soft, a little gnarly. This can happen. What's nice about onions is they have layers. So you can peel off the layers that aren't so ugly and get to the good ones. Alright. Go ahead and repeat for the other slice. And hey, if you want more onion in your fried rice, go ahead and chop it up more. If you want it finer, do a finer chop than what I'm doing. This is going to shrink ever so slightly while we're frying it, so keep that in mind. I wanted to show, before we move on, I have chopped up some garlic to go with our vegetable medley. And it's sort of a coarse mince. Of course, if you want it really fine, you want to add it later. If it's going to be thicker, more coarse, or bigger chunks of garlic, you want to add it sooner when we cook. Okay, we are getting down to business now. So we have gone ahead and moved the white rice to a steel mixing bowl, and we're going to add just a single egg to it. Now, if you got more rice, add more egg, or if you got less rice, maybe add a smaller egg than what I got here. Anyways, nothing fancy here. Use a spatula or whichever tool you got. You're gonna work that egg, the raw egg you just cracked, into the rice. And you want to do this until everything is kind of homogeneous. You have this sort of uniform color. So this is why it's easier once your rice is already warmed up. If this was still cold and kind of dry and clumpy, this would suck. One more thing to add to that, don't be using hot rice, like steaming hot rice. That's going to cook your egg. And you want to be cooking everything in the pan. I think with that, we are looking pretty darn good. Okay, we're back at our pan. We're going to be adding our shrimp now. I'm going to be using a fork because I just want to get the shrimp in there and not the sauce. If we cook the shrimp with the sauce, things are going to burn and not taste so great. So, shrimp going in. Alright, just give it a light fry on both sides. We're going to go ahead and add some of our vegetables now. I'm going to say we're going to add about half of the mixture. And this is looking pretty darn great already. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add the garlic now. And like we did for the veggies, just kind of give everything a stir. All right, things are moving quickly. We're gonna go ahead and dump the rice in now. This is where it helps to have a good arm, because you really need to move everything around. Now, if you're a cool person, chances are you got a gas stovetop, and you can just slap a wok down on that guy, and you can just kind of toss that wok around. And that'll do a much better job of what you're seeing me do here. Also want to make sure that your pan is not getting too cold. Keep an eye on your element or your heat, because we want to be cooking this rice. We just added a ton of rice to this pan, probably a little more than I should have. So things have cooled down. You're not hearing that sizzling anymore. Okay, so you hear that sizzling. We got our pan a little hotter here, and it's very faint. I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see on the edges of these individual grains, you are starting to see some brown. Usually indicates it's more or less done. Of course, you can always scoop up a piece, have a sample while you cook. Just don't burn your mouth. All right, go ahead, grab a bowl, grab a spoon, and let's dish up. So this rice probably started off as about maybe a cup, maybe less, of uncooked rice. Used it for a meal the other night, and it's made all this here. This is probably 2 good servings of shrimp fried rice. All right, some beautiful golden shrimp fried rice ready to serve. Thanks for watching.